So the main thing is I've been getting this information as I've been doing my medicine journeying, and I'll talk about that later on.
Mhm, mhm,
But the true medicine is what we consume. So I always think to myself, even being as a mother, I am and we are what we consume. And consuming is through the eyes, through the ears, through the mouth, the nose, through what we eat and
mhm,
ingest,
mhm,
and what we accept in our lives. So we consume people, places, circumstances, situations, um, food, clothing, all these things, propaganda,
mhm,
of course, and everything outside of ourselves will affect us physically. So stress, diet, and all these different elements. So the one thing that I've done to make sure I maintain my sanity,
mhm,
because as a healer and somebody that works with sound to assist others in healing, because you can see some of my equipment in the background, because I was DJing and I was in the public and doing music, it was always intentional to create an experience for those to release and to heal. And
mhm.
that's the same thing I do here in sessions when I work with others and assist them on their journey here in this planet, on this planet, on this plane, whatever you want to call it. So the first thing I allow my clients to understand through communication is, what are you eating? What are you watching? What are you listening to? Is it feeding your soul?
Mhm,
Is it feeding your blood, your organs, your bones, your body? You know, how are you feeling in your body? And
mhm,
that's a really big thing because a lot of people don't, because things have changed out of what we deem as normal. It really wasn't normal to begin with. This whole society has been built to enslave us, to bring us into a state of consuming and putting our energy forth into something that's not really truthfully our purpose. So with me trying to make sure I stay in that space, I eat a lot of leafy green vegetables.
mhm,
And that really assists with, how I communicate, how I think, how I eliminate, how I operate. And it keeps me in the thought of connecting with the earth because these plants are growing out to the sun
mhm,
and it's receiving energy from the sun. It's receiving energy from the soil, the micro and macronutrients, all of the things that the earth provides for us. It's coming from the plants. So
mhm,
looking at what we're eating is so important because our bodies are reacting to our environment. So if you're
mhm,
putting something healthy or beneficial in your body, it's going to help you deal with your environment better. It deals with your mental, it deals with your spiritual, it deals with your energetic body, your blood,
yes.
especially, and it supports your blood.
Mhm,
So my preference for eating is leafy green vegetables such as kale, um, not necessarily spinach because it's more acidic and you can feel that on your teeth. So anything that creates a grit on my teeth is very acidic, therefore it's not healthy for me. I love coniferous vegetables because it helps support and ground me, especially when I'm feeling
what,
off.
what, what do you call those?
Coniferous vegetables, so those that are crunchy, like
Ah,
broccoli,
coniferous. Yes. Okay.
yes, cabbage. Sometimes it'll be a combination of both. And I don't cook my food to the maximum. I like to steam it. I don't
Yeah.
necessarily boil it. I want everything, and I drink the broth. And that
Okay.
really supports me to help keep me grounded so I can help others. So imagine if you did this for yourself to support yourself. So also, I've really cut back on eating meat. I'm not a red meat eater. I never really was a red meat eater. No pork, no beef.
Mhm,
I had to cut out other things that I ate like 8, 10 years ago. Lamb, bison. I love meats. I've worked in the restaurant industry for years, so food
yeah.
was my thing. And I decided to cut those out because if the animal is not sustainably slaughtered or
Yeah.
sacrificed, then you're taking in the fear of the animal. You're taking in that experience of the animal. And we have to be mindful of that as well.
Let me ask you a question, Nikki. Is there a way you can maybe eventually plug? Because when I'm speaking, for
Mhm.
some reason I can hear my echo on your side. Um, Let me see if there's any way we can fix. In the meantime, let me thank Master Electronic for the super sticker. Thank you very much, brother. Appreciate you. Thank you, my king. I
Do you
appreciate
still
you
do you
indeed.
still hear the echo?
No, I want to. No, I'm not. Good.
Okay, I just turned off the speaker that was closest to
All right.
the
Okay. Okay.
microphone. Okay,
so,
good.
so, so when it comes to these kind of diets, which I know are complicated to adapt, I would say. And I know that not everybody is physiologically able to just go all the way vegan or,
Correct.
all these kind of like very strict kind of like dietary way of, looking after themselves and, just eating. Were you always into the veggies, or you became more? What sort of like got you to become more aware and really start, being mindful of the way you cook your vegetables, or just your food in general?
Yeah, well, with having children and seeing that they're, because here in the US, it's some of the environments here are extremely toxic. And what you even expose yourself to as a woman while your child is in your womb, they're picking up on this toxicity. So it made my last pregnancy made me a lot more mindful because of what I was eating. I was eating to support my child. So things that I was eating during my pregnancy is not things that I eat now. And I dabbled more into aspects of seafood. I did eat beef at that time, and I don't have any regrets with that because each pregnancy I had taught me something different about my body. And with my last pregnancy, I gained a lot of healthy weight that supported my child. She was my largest child. And then breastfeeding her, it was such a beautiful experience. And I noticed that once I did what I needed to do for my pregnancy, then it was about eliminating and making sure that I had good milk to give her. So that's when I really became more mindful because my first two pregnancies, I was in a different space, a different state of mind, having different experiences. So this last pregnancy, I was able to process and really go into how I was eating. And this was almost 14 years ago. And so thankful for that opportunity because I noticed my daughter's actions and reactions to specific food like sugar.
Mm-hmm.
Sugar, sugar is like extremely toxic. It is very addictive. And
Yes.
and I know that when it's around me and my children, there's a frustration and anger and an excitedness that comes about when we are around it, when we consume it. So I have to be mindful of that. I started transitioning out of sugars, like processed cane sugar, to coconut sugars or agaves or something that's more natural to the environment. And understanding that I don't trust or believe or care much of what the medical system has to say about me because it doesn't support me as an indigenous woman. So they're looking at it from a standpoint of assisting those that have privilege, those that look a certain way, and that have specific access, which most people that look like me don't. So I had to figure out if I don't want to have certain dis-ease in my body, I need to figure out how to utilize my environment and what I have access to heal me. So I
Mm-hmm.
started making concoctions and researching a lot of things because my daughter got very sick when she was young. Um, she had seborrheic dermatitis, which she was literally allergic to her own slobber. I was eating peanuts when I was breastfeeding her for a plant source of protein, not understanding how toxic peanuts are. So,
Wow.
and they're not nuts, they're a bean. And they've been genetically engineered for almost 60, 70 years. So I didn't know that. And when I learned about that, her rashes started to go away. How do I support her in the healing process? Because she's scratching her skin off because it's itching her. I learned about calendula or calendula, whatever anybody wants to call it, the flour, putting it in a salve, mixing it with her lotions, how oatmeal and goat's milk and things of that nature help with supporting the skin when you have these ailments that are going on.
Wow.
So I had to do a lot of research to support my children. And then as I'm getting older, I'm learning that these things are also starting to pop up on my body. It's not because of what I'm doing now, it's because of what I've been exposed to for so long in my life. So now I'm on a journey to support my body more, which is why I chose to really shift out of eating meat that bleeds to more, maybe once a month, twice a month, I'll eat a white fish, something that comes from more Arctic waters.
Hmm.
One of my favorite fishes are cod because it grasps the flavors, and I like seasoning. I like my food to taste
I
well. I
feel
like to
you.
enjoy the experience.
To echo you, Sister Dean Press Evoke is tuned in as well, and she said, "Well spoken, Sister Nikki. Our indigenous healing alignment is fundamental to our strength and sovereignty."